Welcome back, everybody. Mr. X here in the New York City studio. We have a great day today. It's a Scuff 10K. We got some Scuff giveaways. We got an Xbox One giveaway. I'm going to be joined for all of this by Chance. Chance, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. And now that you mentioned the giveaways, I just became really curious into how do you enter them. I might try.
We're gonna let you guys know that a little bit later on. We have a long day. There's no reason to kind of rush these giveaways, Chance. There's no reason to do that. Saw you, UMG Dallas. You did great, as usual.
Thank you.
Very sad. Wasn't there? No, I wasn't there.
UMG Dallas, so.
No.
A little bit disappointing.
It's a bit tired, you know. Sometimes you just gotta sit one out. Let people like Jack take some jobs on. But anyway, we're gonna be doing the 10K all day long here. We can actually take a look at the bracket, see how everything is kind of gonna pan out for us today. So Rick Dipper, I believe that's Optic Gaming. They'll be at the top of the bracket there. I believe they had some kind of issue in round 2, so we'll wait and see what goes on with that. Further down, you have Vex versus Epsilon. Chance, that should be a pretty good matchup.
Vex versus Epsilon. Yeah, I also heard that there was like some issues. I think it was Vex, or maybe it was actually VVV that was withdrawn in contract issue. But yeah, Vex and Epsilon definitely interesting. Obviously, Epsilon at UMG Dallas was able to take down Optic Gaming. So clearly, when they're performing, they can take down the best. And obviously, Vex, Twiz is on it and BL Fire's on it. You know, two like former pros, been in the pro league, stuff like that. And then of course, Fastball and Profit. They've been around forever. Just haven't quite been able to break into the top yet. Yeah,
we've seen them have some pretty good games against some big teams. We'll be looking at them today. Maybe they can cause an upset. TCM, they're playing with Parasite instead of Aches today. Aches' birthday weekend, he elected to take today off. They could have a potential matchup against Rise here. That would be a round number 4 matchup. So that should be a pretty good game if that one goes on. Optic Nation, they're in today's bracket. They could actually match up against the new XGN squad, which is the one that you were kind of alluding to, Chance. They've kind of formed after VVV broke up, so to speak, and that, I believe, is going to be Killa, Nelson, Fizzerp, and Fears.
That's real interesting, honestly. Especially at UMG Dallas, it was played off stream. It was Fizzerp going against Killa for whatever those teams were, and after Fizzerp's team ended up 3-0ing them, and of course Killa was just talking a lot of trash, and it seemed like him and Fizzerp weren't quite getting along at the time. Then of course, like the next day, they were playing like GB tournaments together, so yeah, they have like some weird chemistry dynamic going on, but clearly they like playing it with each other.
Yeah, no, those guys, they'll always keep going back to each other. We've kind of seen it over the last few months. You have Elevate. They could be going against the Turtles. See who's on the Turtles. That's M. Ruiz, Cade, Exib. So it's basically the old E6, no general, adding Swept Grizzly. So that could be kind of an underrated matchup. You know, the old E6, that roster pretty much plus general, they caused some issues online. Definitely could give Elevate some trouble. You see Denial, their squad. They'll be going up against Orbit if they can get by McRandy's, which they should. That should be a pretty good game as well.
Yeah, you're going too fast for me. I'm still like stuck on the Turtles trying to load up pages. I'm just going to go back to them just because that's where I was at mentally. They were also at UMG Dallas. They were one of the teams trying to get through the open bracket, and the guy who runs MES, I think, is actually like the owner of that team. So he like knows all the E6 guys like really well. And then of course I don't want to call him a pickup, but Grizzly, like the not general guy from E6, is also a very good player. I've seen him in a couple game battles tournaments as well, and the dude, like, he's on point.
And then you see the new E6 on your screen now, or at least for today. It's Felony, John, Proof, and General. They'll be going up against Mutiny, which Mutiny, they've always been pretty good online, Chance. If they get by them, they will probably match up against TK, and I say probably because TK always struggles in these weekend tournaments, Chance. We both know that from doing a lot of them.
It's just everything with TK, it always seems like they do really well, force it to map number 5, and then I just don't know the last time I've ever seen TK win a map 5. Even like round 11s all the time, it just seems like they're just right on the brink of success, and they can just never get it.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. They always kind of lose those heartbreaking games. Envy could go up against Squad Shid in game 4. Actually, no, they've actually lost, so the bracket's not updated. They actually lost to G4G plus LG, so Envy would play against them, which is actually a bit of an upset because this squad was Spacely, Goonjar, Study, and Jay Sano, so evidently they have lost to G4G. It's probably our first upset of the day, probably a first of many. ISO going up against Stunner. Who is ISO's for today? They elected not to play with Parasite anymore, and now they're playing with Lacefield, so that'll be interesting to take a look at them today. They'll be going up against Sunner, and they will could potentially go on to play against Psy, a 10K. This is FaZe. Chance, you saw them, UMG. They looked so good. Attach, Clay, Enable, and Zuma, the full roster playing today.
Yeah, honestly, that might be the new favorite, or potentially even like the OG FaZe or Psy. This is a 10K, whatever their team name is, in the finals, which would definitely be interesting to see. But I don't know. Am I allowed to like swing it back all the way to G4G to talk about?
Oh yeah, no, we can go wherever you want, Chance.
So G4G, obviously UMG Dallas, that was the team that was able to take down Denial in pool play. They were the team that made it out of the open bracket, and they 3-0'd Denial, and that was when people were saying Denial, like, you know, top 3, top 4 team, something like that. And then I think after that, they got completely destroyed, but you can definitely see that they at least sometimes can play with those guys. But then they're missing 2 of their original players, but they're picking up OS Proto and Lethal Holler. Yeah, Proto is a dude that I've seen all the time in the 1Ks. He always either wins them or gets second place, although I don't think he can compete in them anymore because like too many pro points or whatever. But the dude is nasty at uplink. Like he's like your OBJ, and I'm saying one of the like most entertaining guys to watch in uplink. And then Lethal Holler, I think it was at UGC Niagara where he dropped like 62 kills on Hardpoint Detroit, and he had like the thermal melee out the entire game and like broke like all like the slang records. So like that's the only game I've ever seen from that guy. But like if he can drop 60, like I gotta imagine that he brings something to the table. And they're going up against Envy, so like you never know.
Right, they're going to be going up against Envy. Just saw that update. Maybe that's the match that we jump into. I would personally like to jump into the TCM vs Rise game, Chance. I think that's going to be a very good one. We'll have to take a look at some of the players, see who's in games, see who's not in games. But any matchup you want to see today, Chance?
Yeah, Team Envy versus G4G. Because again, the 1Ks, I give so much love to Proto all the time. Yeah. And I want a chance to see how good he is against like a pro team. So I'm just in it because I have more like a slightly personal connection to it. Not to mention TCM Rise, like we always see pro league matchups.
Yeah, it's a good
like,
point, Chance.
That's been done.
Maybe we'll try and get into that G4G versus Envy game. Guys, let us know what games you want to see. Chance is super excited. We may be able to get into that one. But guys, quick commercial break. Then we're going to get into our first game of the day in the 10K.